A man walked in and sat at the edge of the couch. He was several inches shorter than Ryan, about 50, bald but with curly hair over his ears and thin glasses perched at the end of a long, pointy nose. He set a thick stack of paper on the table in front of the couch, looked over his glasses at Ryan, and patted the velvet upholstery next to him. Ryan eased into the room and sat as directed. The top sheet was a faxed copy of the rental agreement he'd filled out on the ladies' porch half an hour ago. "You got a job, McNear?" Ryan spoke the way he would to a business colleague in a boardroom. "Yeah, I just got to town. I'm an electrical engineer, should have a position by the end of the week." Dodge waited, holding his hands together so that the fingertips of one hand just touched those of the other. There was something deeply obnoxious about his extended silence and unwavering stare. Eventually, Ryan gave in, and for no reason he could fathom, started explaining his situation, just the details a reasonable landlord might need, the job situation in Dallas, and that he'd come to California to take an engineering executive position. Dodge laughed, a raspy but screeching chuckle that seemed to echo between the tip of his nose and the paunch of his belly. "Did you bring a shovel, McNear? Gold rush ended 150 years ago." So that's Dodge. And Dodge Nutter is, like I said, an attorney, con man. And where I got this guy was really, basically twofold. In Petaluma, there is the Phoenix Theater. This is the place where where the adolescent kids hang out and ride skateboards and play loud music. It's sort of the habitat for the adolescent troublemaker. And so a place disturbingly similar but slightly twisted from the Phoenix appears in this book with some prominence. And Dodge, as well as being the landlord for this Victorian, is also the owner of what I call Skate and Shred, so that it can be well distanced from the Phoenix Theater, which is a very nice place for people, for children to hang out. So one day I was walking by the Phoenix and I saw a guy who just looked like this, and I thought, that's the guy I want. This long, pointy nose and just sort of unscrupulous looking guy walking by the Phoenix. I actually thought he owned it. I just moved to town and I didn't know that the Phoenix was actually a community supported place for kids with a clinic and homework help. The other part of Dodge is my stepfather. I grew up with an attorney, and while my attorney, Robert Hannon, was a man of very high moral standards and an all-around great guy, he had this sort of self-image that he was really tricky and conniving, even though he really wasn't. But he always had these things when he'd get a new case, and he did personal injury law, and he'd get his case, and he'd always kind of be going, I got him now, I got him. So I had this image that I wanted to build in. So Dodge is the landlord in this house. And the funny thing about this Victorian turned apartment complex is that usually when you turn a big house into apartment complexes, they're each individual units. But in this, if you have an apartment in the Nutter mansion, you have to walk through Dodge's living room to get to the stairs to go up to your apartment, which he just loves because it gives him this psychological twist that he can always play with and annoy you.